I'm Adora Mofor, and welcome to Living a Creative Life. Today, I'll introduce you to 3 Calgarians living authentically and making our city a better place. Today, planting art in the ecosystem, Kawaii-style handmade ceramics, and the world of Inuit art. Welcome to the ALCLA nursery. Today, we meet a creator who has a natural green thumb and also plants her talents around the grassland ecosystem. Latifa, thank you so much for having us. It's so beautiful out here.
Thank you.
Oh, tell us what ALCLA Native Plants is.
ALCLA Native Plants is a native plant nursery that was founded in 1992, but we took it over in 2019. We have over 150 species of grasses, wildflowers, and shrubs native to the province. I went, into university right after high school, and then I decided to study herbal medicine. I was able to study in England. I think it's profoundly grounding to really be in connection with the land that I occupy space on. Let's try to do that as graciously as possible. I think there's a huge colonial impact on landscape, huge. And so at this point in stage where we've lost 60 to 80% of our prairie, in some cases 95, 99%, you have to put that back. Just the actual growing of these plants is a very much artistic practice because there is not, it's also scientific, and I think science and art actually are interwoven together.
I love it. Yes, say it.
But there's almost no research on how to grow or propagate our native plants or even the insects they associate with. And so there's an artistry in that ongoing relationship, how we grow them, how we interact with them, how we try and treat them as sentient living beings with dignity and respect and care. Most of the life around here, like the animal life, depends on these plants. And it's like there are insects that can't survive without their host plants. And we don't even fully understand that because it hasn't even been studied.
Is there a favorite plant that you have or a favorite process?
Because I do have a herbal background, of course I'm drawn to some of the really accessible medicinal plants like our wild mint or bee balm, which we can use exactly like oregano, actually is 10 times stronger in flavor, which supports moths, like huge beautiful hawk moths that we hardly see, which are really critical food for bats. They can attract hummingbirds. Like, don't give hummingbirds sugar water, give them nectar, which has more nutrients. Everything we do is informed by the gifts of Mother Earth. That affects all of us. That's our practice as an artist, but our duty as a human being to be a good human being. It's like my primary drive is supporting these living beings. That's the baseline thing. I'm a mother of thousands.
Yes. Love it.
These are my kids. My real dream on a local level is that things are seeding out and they're returning home and they're healing the land and they're bringing food and resources to the microorganisms, the insects, the birds, bats, other animals to thrive. Instead of dandelion being everywhere, maybe it's yarrow or goldenrod. I would love to be able to inspire local people in every corner of this earth to embrace their biodiversity and celebrate that. My background is Bangladeshi, I'm half Bangladeshi, and tropical plants those seeds cannot be dried. They cannot be preserved. This is a global crisis that many people aren't even aware of. And so the way a biodiversity project would work in my ancient homeland would be totally different, but I would love to see those processes happen and that be something that people can really access and reach. And if I can feed into that, that would be definitely my large-scale dream.
Up next, we get our hands on some unique handmade ceramics inspired by the cuteness culture in East Asia.
I want to create something like for myself. I want a cute pastel pink mug, but like when I go to market, a lot of the stuff is mass produced or very plasticky, and plus the pink is not right pink. So I'm like, oh, I want to create something is long-lasting, environmental, more friendly, and also most important, it's really, really cute. I want to hold the cup and feel like nice and look at the face, feel like, oh my God, so cute. It's kind of empowering for myself using cute stuff. So that's the beginning of the Mao Projects story. So I began to create the cup I really like, and then I posted in social media. That became so popular.
We started to develop some ways to just kind of play around and work together. So we just kind of passed some paper back and forth and do some drawing on it. And then seeing the results, we were quite excited about how our very different styles and approaches to mark making kind of came together. And ceramics became this other mediary space for us to sort of bring together those diverse sets of knowledge and see how they can kind of work together. I tend to take on a lot of the slip casting and initial cutting of templates and forming. And Mao's specialty is really the glaze colors and the surface treatment.
A lot of skill can transfer. A lot of aesthetics and idea can transfer to another medium. It's kind of like if you already know piano, it's easier to learn violins, right?
You can still read the music.
Yeah. Like the creating ability, it's always in us. It's just change your expression tool.
We were very fortunate to kind of ride a social media wave through the pandemic. So building a really international community was quite surprising. So we felt very grateful and lucky to connect with so many people kind of across the world that really engage with this subject matter. And just in the past year, we've been doing a lot more markets locally and trying to connect more with the local community. So we kind of started large and have been working our way back to sort of the more local audience and trying to connect with them.
People will say, oh my God, that's so cute. It's so good for my baby, but it's so breakable. So there's a big gap between people who understand East Asian kawaii cute culture, and then people grow up here never exposed to animation. People have a stereotype of cute is childish, and it's very not meaningful. It's not mature enough. It's not adult. But when I go to master degree, I do 2 years research about how kawaii culture, cute culture can empower women to prove that kawaii, it's not just a childish, it's actually a feminism movement back in Asia. I feel, okay, this is what I'm doing, it's important. They can be feminine, but they also can be very, very strong. They can be cute, and meanwhile they can be a feminist. One side is this aesthetics was developed by female for female. The other side is because a lot of female actually creating the cute stuff for female to consume. So economically, it's female helping female. We actually have 2 projects. One is Mao Project, cute ceramic and daily use, and then another practice called Chris and Mao.
We kind of have different, sort of targets of where we want the work to end up. So for the functional everyday stuff, we want people to use this and have this be a big part of their everyday kind of rituals or routines. And with the collaborative art project, we tend to show more in sort of traditional exhibition spaces. In terms of where we see things going, what's been really interesting in some of the more sculptural work that we've been making for the Mao Project side of things has also been getting into sort of more the fine art exhibition spaces, trying to expand it even further into the sculptural side of things.
Next, we get an appreciation for Inuit art from a creator who owns an exclusive gallery. Sharing Inuit art. I came in here, mouth drop. It is so beautiful. Thank you for welcoming us.
And this space welcomes you. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get into art? How did you decide that you want to be an art gallery owner? I don't think that starts at 5, but maybe it did.
Well, actually, even probably earlier than that. So I'm a 2nd generation art dealer in my family. My father, when he immigrated to Canada from Greece, so just as a young backpacker, he moved up to Northwest Territories, lived as an Inuk, truly lived as an Inuk, and stumbled upon fur business, of all things. So he had a layover going back to Greece for his first time, and he saw a tanned Arctic fox pelt in a gift shop. with a price tag of something erroneous like $395. This is, you know, mid-1980s money. And he knew that the trappers back home were selling tan pelts to the Hudson Bay Company for $35 store credit, right? So he liked those margins. And then within 5 years of that, he dominated the wholesale fur market industry. And the year that I was born, he was transferred the privatization of an Inuit Art cooperative. So I grew up among this business literally from the day that I was born. Really at the core of it all, Inuit Art did raise me, right? So when you're living outside of the Arctic, the art was always my connection to my Inuit side. When you're in a gallery, you see pedestals and sculptures. I see different regions of the Arctic. Yeah, I see different styles and influences. The stone right away is indicative of what part of the Arctic that artist is from, right? So when people approach Inuit art and see it as like a homogeneous art form, it definitely isn't. So we can start there. And that essentially was kind of the idea of how my exhibit, Tamani, was conceived. But at the same time, you don't need to learn about transformation in Inuit art through a $15,000 sculpture by Kyo Wakashuna, right? So I wanted it to be about ease of access, ease of portability, right? So then I came up with the concept of something very small, 2 feet by 2 feet by 1.5 feet with a map of Nunavut, right? Because that's where it starts. It starts from the land. So you see the different regions that you're looking at that are starred. One subject of Inuit art from 3 different communities and how different they are. So right off the bat, we're understanding that not all Inuit art is homogeneous. So stone from Cape Dorset, it's a harder stone. You can carve a lot of detail into it. Yes, you can carve a bear balancing on 1 foot, okay? Whereas soapstone, a huge misconception of what Inuit art is, it's a softer stone. You can't render that much detail, right? So as Inuit art evolved and became more sophisticated and became more skilled, so too did stone style, so forth, yeah. I'm obsessed with the masters before us that laid the groundwork for Inuit art to evolve and thrive and become more sophisticated. We're coming into a very interesting time in the collectability of Inuit art where, you know, a lot of these artists have now passed, okay? A lot of these artists are now passing the torch to the next generation, and they're witnessing this next generation carve, and that next generation grew up watching them carve. I don't know what is a better art school than watching Nunapar carve a dancing bear, right? There's no better. If I can't be my authentic self, if I can't put my authentic touch on it, I'm not touching it. So any project that comes my way, whether it's an offer or I'm creating it, it's gonna have to have my authentic perspective. So after that, the world is my oyster, yeah.
I love that approach. I love that.
You know, the art world, I'm probably going to be outshined by a lot of other big box galleries, but I knew nobody had my story. And size all of a sudden didn't matter.
This space here doesn't need to be 10,000 square feet to make more impact. Thank you so much for giving that to us today. Thank you to Latifa for the plants, Mao and Chris for ceramic education, and Sophia for sharing Inuit art. See you next time on Living a Creative Life.